Hey everybody, Doug here. A little bit of a different episode this week. It's going to be shorter. It's kind of a new format I'm trying where I've been playing Spiritfarer and I beat it and I wanted to review it. And then I also had played some of Redfall and wanted to give some of my opinions on, both of those games. So this week it's going to be a little bit shorter. And if this does well, which I hope it will, I'll do more of these where every now and then we'll kind of break up whatever series we're reviewing, whatever we're doing, and have some reviews. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn over the episode. It's a short one this week, but we'll be back next week with the Resident Evil content. Leo and I recorded an episode where we reviewed Resident Evil 6 and Resident Evil Revelations, and that will come out next week. So let's get into it. What's up, everybody? It's Doug here, and this is the first solo episode that we've done in a while. And the reason for that is today I'm going to be reviewing Spiritfarer, and then also in a little bit I'm going to give my first impressions on Redfall and what I think about that game. But we're going to start with Spiritfarer because this is a game that has been on my list for a really long time, and I finally loaded it up on the Steam Deck. I got it for like $6. And honestly, right now, if you're listening to this episode in May of 2023, you can get this game as a part of the Humble Bundle, the Humble Monthly Bundle. That is, it's either 11.99 or 12.99, one of the two. The price of that alone is worth Spiritfarer. Never mind if there's any other games in that bundle that you want to get. I would pay the $12 just for Spiritfarer, and then you can just take what the games that come with it and do whatever you want with it. But this game it's a 2D. It's kind of like a 2D scrolling kind of game. You know what I mean? Like side to side, and you play as this character. Your name is Stella, and you've got this cute little cat. And you basically wake up and you're talking to Charon, and he basically says, "Hey, you're the new Spiritfarer. You're in charge of getting souls to go into the next world to move on, basically." And the game doesn't spend a whole lot of time like onboarding you onto this process, and you kind of just go, and you get your first spirit pretty quickly. And from there, you have your boat, and you have a map basically, and you just go to your map and you tell, you pick a place on the map, and the boat goes there, and the boat will go anywhere you want, as long as it's not like nighttime. The boat can't go for some reason. You would think that a boat that can, basically a boat to fairy spirits can see in the dark, but apparently not. That that's just like one of the small gripes that I have for this game in particular. But yeah, basically you start getting tasks, and as you like the first spirit that you get will be like, "Hey, I want to go here," and you go to this place on the map, and you'll find that this place on the map has shops and other characters to talk to, and from those characters you can get little hints about where to get other resources and stuff like that. And for every time you get a spirit on your ship, you basically get these little tokens, and for every two tokens, I believe, you can find these shrines in the world that upgrade your abilities. And these give you the double jump and glide abilities. There's one that lets you use zip lines, just stuff like that that allows you to get further into new areas. So I guess you can kind of say it's kind of like a Metroidvania because you're coming back with powers that you get, and you come back to areas, stuff like that. Uh, but yeah, basically the goal of the game is to get all the spirits in the game to go to the afterlife, and to do that, you have to build things on your ship. Like you have to build. You got a kitchen to cook food for all the spirits on your ship. You've got places where you can grow crops. You can plant trees to grow fruit. There's like a loom where you can make threads, and the, the basic gameplay loop revolves around my my spirits want X. I need to get X. For example, there's one spirit that wants fried chicken, and to get fried chicken, you have to have some kind of oil, and you have to have chicken, obviously. So at that point, I had to find some place that sold chickens because I didn't unlock the chicken coop yet. And then from there, I also had to go and unlock oils, which means I had to build a crusher, and then you have to have something to make into oil. And then after that, you can go to your kitchen and you can cook things. And there's just at no point, I know it kind of might sound like you're going on this boat. There's got to be downtime. At no point towards the end of the game did I feel like I had any kind of downtime. As a matter of fact, there were times where I felt like I didn't have enough time. Like I was running all over the ship, picking my crops, watering them, taking things out of the kitchen, putting new things into the kitchen, cutting planks, using the loom to make threads, seeing what spirits needed what at that time. So feeding them. That's another thing. You have to feed them to boost their mood. But that being said, I stopped caring about their food about halfway through the game, and there was no consequences that ever came towards me. So I don't think you actually have to feed them. I think it's just a thing where if you want to feed them, if it makes you feel better about yourself, you can do that. But I gave up pretty fast. Pretty fast, I quit feeding these little animals, and that's basically. And there's these little mini games. When you're cutting planks in the sawmill, you have to there's like a line that zigzags on the plank, and you have to keep in with that line. And if you don't, you get 2 planks, but if you do, you get 4. And every everything that you make has some kind of mini game attached to it. And speaking of mini games, there are certain every I'm pretty sure every spirit has an event tied to them. Like if you go into a thunderstorm, there is a spirit that you talk to, and he says, "Hey, let's catch lightning in a bottle." And you basically start this little mini game where you have to go stand under the lightning to get lightning in the bottle. It's stuff like that. And those things that you get from those events are really important because you can use them to upgrade your boat. You can upgrade your your buildings and stuff like that. And that'll take you, because basically the goal of the game is your spirits. They give you tasks to do, and you do them, and eventually they say, "Hey, I'm ready to go to the Everdoor," which is basically saying, "Hey, we're ready to move on to the afterlife." And the Everdoor scene, I was kind of bummed about that because I didn't want to take them, like because I'd grown attached to the first spirit that I took to the Everdoor. But every time that I took one to the Everdoor, it was some of the most beautiful moments in a video game that I've ever experienced. And there is one character that I won't spoil anything about, but I had looked up how to find this character, and I grew so attached to him that when the scene where you take him to the Everdoor was one of the most beautiful moments in video games that I've ever seen. Up there, with the ending of season 1 of The Walking Dead and stuff like that. I mean, just the writing in Spiritfarer is top notch. And the art style, beautiful. There wasn't a whole lot of frustrating things about this game. I mean, if I could say one thing, I would say that I guess the 2D aspect of it, there's some jank in there every now and then. But I mean, I don't really think that's anything in a detriment to it, if that makes sense. Because I mean, it's annoying that sometimes that I was trying to make a jump and I should have made said jump, but the game just didn't register that I had gotten there. But I mean, other than that, this was just a really good game. Just a really good game, and I can't recommend it enough. Like I said, if you're listening to this episode in May of 2023, it's on the Humble Bundle, $12. It's easily worth it, $12. But if you don't want to pay $12, I mean, I don't know how much it is on Steam, but I got it on CD Keys for like $6, $7 maybe. And I mean, I would heavily recommend this game to everybody. It scratched that itch that games like Stardew Valley and Animal Crossing just really got to me. And it was so good that by the time I was over with by the time I was through with this game, I was looking. I went to Google and said, "What games are like Spiritfarer?" Because I wanted to play something else like it. So if you're looking for a cool indie game, I can't recommend Spiritfarer enough. Uh, And that being said, now we're gonna go over into a game that broke my heart, which is Redfall. If you don't know about Redfall, it's a first person shooter from the team that did Deathloop, they did the Dishonored series, they did Prey. It's Arcane Studios, and basically you're in this. It looks like you're in Maine. I don't know for sure, and basically vampires are taking over, and you've got powers. You're a guy with powers, and you're trying to get out of this. You're trying to get out of the city of Redfall because vampires, and they stop you, and you have to kind of fight your way, and you start a resistance, and everything about this game is setting up for to be good. Everything about it, every single little thing about this game makes me want to love it. But it just it falls flat pretty quick. Uh, and just talking a little bit more about what the game does right before we get to the bad parts of it. The style of this game, you're going through, this, you know, it, it looks like the best way. You know what? The best way I can describe it is if you watched American Horror Story, the one with the vampires in Maine. It's that kind of town. It's a port town, and you're just going through. You're killing vampires. You've got the first real gun you get is a shotgun with the like. I'm pretty sure all of the guns that aren't pistols have stakes attached to them because obviously when you weaken a vampire, you have to drop a stake through its heart. And like all those things are so good and they're so cool. But where the game started to rub me wrong pretty quick because when you first start the game, you just have a pistol, and the first group of human enemies, because there's human enemies too in this game, and when I first started killing them, they were dropping shotguns and assault rifles, but I couldn't pick them up, which is the first sign that I wasn't gonna like some of the design choices they make here, and. The, any game where there's a gun on the ground that I can't pick up, that bothers me like right away. And as it turns out, you have to just find the guns, which fine, but don't leave them on the ground. I can see them. Let me pick them up if you're going to let me see them. And none of the guns I like. Okay, so you get a second shotgun like pretty quick after you get the first shotgun, and I didn't feel like it was important at all. I didn't feel like it was any kind of upgrade. The only thing that was different that I could see was that there was a different look. That physically it looked different, and that's cool. That's fine. But in games like these, quote unquote looter shooters, when you have new guns, you expect those new guns to do something else cool. I mean, look at Borderlands. Every time you find a gun, you've got to figure out what wacky, insane thing this gun does. I remember the first time I played Borderlands, and when I went to reload the gun, they threw it and exploded. I was like, "That's cool." And in the short time I played this game, nothing like that happened. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that there's not guns like that in the game, but it's just I played enough of it to where I looked at other people and how their experiences were going, and the game experience, like the gaming experience, doesn't pick up from there. Like it gets very repetitive, and you're doing the same thing over and over again. And instead of having some kind of currency, you're having to, at least in my time playing the game, I had to pick up things and sell them to get guns and stuff. And I'm like, I'm the only one doing the work and the missions in this town to save it. Just give me the rewire kit so I can open these safe houses. That's another thing. You have to buy the keys for safe houses to fast travel, and not necessarily that's not a game breaking thing, but I mean, come on, just for safe houses to unlock fast traveling. In any other game, you've got to, like in Far Cry, you just got to climb a tower, or in Assassin's Creed, I'm playing Valhalla right now. You climb up, you synchronize, boom, fast travel. But no, you have to pay to unlock the fast traveling, and again, it might not be for every safe house, just the ones I came across. I had to have some kind of paid item to unlock them, and that rubbed me wrong. The enemy variety is, I mean, I don't like that. The vampires are okay, but they're kind of dumb. They're dumb vampires, and they're annoying to fight. There's there's a shield vampire. that basically just has a rotating shield that you have to kind of get around, but they're moving a lot, so it's annoying to hit them. Or you can get lucky and you can fight a vampire that just lets you walk into the shield and kill them, and they won't lift a finger to hurt you. And I don't know. These are the thing that really gets under my skin is that the gameplay, the gunplay is great. I had fun shooting the guns, but to a certain point when you're not being challenged with that gunplay and you're not doing anything exciting with it, it really just bogs the game down. And I don't even know if this is something that can be fixed with a patch or not. Uh, but that'd be great if it could. Now, I will say that this is a co-op game, so if you're looking for a co-op game, I've heard that people do have fun, going through the map and killing vampires together. But as of right now, I know that there's a lot of bugs that pop up when you jump into a co-op game. But if you do want to give it a shot, it is on Game Pass, and you can, if you and your friend has, I think it's 3-player co-op, maybe 4. But if you've got some friends with Game Pass, y'all can jump into this, and you'll probably have a good time. That's all I've got for the review section of this week's episode. So I hope you guys liked it, and we'll see you next week.